Hi, today we are doing a Korean beauty try-on haul. I bought a lot of Korean makeup and skincare at the beginning of September actually, and I always wanted to do a video to like try with you, but I just never got the motive for some reason. So it's like 2 months later, we're finally here. The skincare haul is gonna be another day. Today is mainly for the makeup, and I got 2 eyeshadow palettes, 1 blush, and a couple of lip tints and lip glosses. We also got 2 foundation spatula. If you recognize, this is the Picasso very famous TikTok viral foundation spatula, and this is their second version. We are actually doing a comparison of these two with the previous one I used, which is just a random spatula from Muji, to like test is there really a difference between all of these spatulas. So if you're interested, maybe go watch that video. I don't know if when that video will be up, previous of this one or after, but they're gonna be back to back. Enough of talking today, we are gonna try the makeup part. Let's start with eyeshadow. I would show you some swatch footage on the side. So the first one is this Dasique. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Dasique shadow palette in the shade 05 Sunset Molly. I would put the shade name down below. This actually came crushed, this shade, and I contacted the seller and they sent me a new one. But this one is still usable, right? It's only this shade, so I just gave the new one to my friend. She was actually wanting to buy a new eyeshadow palette, and I was like, it's a great time, and she actually loved this palette. I have actually used this palette once. It's the kind of palette that I would like. These creamy matte shades are all those sheer but buildable, like sheer to medium buildable type of pigment. I don't like my mattes, especially the neutral ones, to be super pigmented. So this is just the right consistency, maybe just a touch more sheer than what I want, but still, like I said, you can build it up. And these shimmers are gorgeous. Like the glittery shimmers, they are so perfect. But I haven't tried this one, which is Rosebud Garden palette, and they give you a brush. This is a dual-ended brush. It's actually really soft. Seems like a great quality. This is the palette, like very compact, very cute, very Korean type of packaging. From what I can tell from the swatch, I think this one is slightly more pigmented for the matte shades. It can actually just because the shades are darker though. But the shimmers, these two are, especially this one, is pretty subtle. It's not as intense as the other one. And this is like a super chunky glitter, almost like the body glitters. Both of these are those glitters with a sticky base to it. It's not just like a packed glitter. And this one is like a finer version of this one with a sticky base. These are actually not my favorite kind of glitter, so I don't know how they're gonna work. Maybe let's just use their brush for today. And I would cleaning on a towel in between. Maybe let's just do one eye, a palette, right eye with this Dasique palette. Let me bring you a little closer. Okay, first of all, my eyebrow is doing something weird today. I just can't get it right, and it just looks like 2 caterpillars on my face. Just ignore it, okay? Today I want to do more of a neutral toned. So I'm thinking maybe just use this, and I think there's similar shades in the other palette. So this is gonna be easier to match the 2 looks. Immediately kind of tell it's like a sheer pigmentation, but it's super easy to blend. I think you can pretty much tell. So these type of colors, if they are the Western brands, let's say Anastasia or Natasha Denona. Basically, it's the opposite. You have to use a lot less to be careful to not use too much, and you build slow. For this one, I won't say you have to be like aggressive to build up, but you don't have to be super careful. You can just like tap twice, and you don't have to like tap off the excess or anything. You can just directly put it on your eyelid and it blends effortlessly, and you can just build. Like you can see, I built a couple times and it's blending so seamless, right? And let's use this darkest shade. This darkest shade is probably like just a mid-toned shade, like a rosy shade. For this reason, the other one, the romance one, is probably a little bit more versatile because the mattes, actually the tone difference are like bigger. Okay. Can you see how effortlessly this is blending? You don't really have to worry about the blending. You just swipe it on your lids and it's blended. I would even say this is blending more effortlessly than the like Charlotte Tilbury or Natasha Denona Pat McGrath. Not because I think this formula is way better than all of those. It's just because the pigmentation is sheer buildable, so it's just naturally gonna give you a more blended look, if that makes sense. And let's just use this sponge to clean this brush. Let's match this matte on this side. I think these two blend together can mimic the first shade I use. And for the second shade, I think this one, oh, you are not seeing it. I was saying blending these two can mimic the first shade I use, and this one, maybe adding a little bit of this can mimic the second shade I used. I feel like for Korean eyeshadows especially, you don't need that much different palettes. I want to say there are mainly 3 color stories, and these 3 color stories are pretty similar to each other even. So the first one is the true neutrals, a little bit taupey, a little bit like yellowish brown type of neutral undertone. Like the names will usually include the word nude. And the second one is a pinkish one, just like this one that we had. And the third one would be a leaning peachy, which is this one that we had. But like I said, even these 3 type of shades are like a borderline similar to each other. So you can see I am able to mix in shades and create similar looks using 2 different color stories. Oh, I might apply it a little too much on this side. I think you still can see this side is leaning a little bit pinkier, but again, I do think they are rather close type of color story, so you really don't need so many different Korean eyeshadow palettes. Pick 1 or 2 color story that you prefer, you're gonna be set. And even the glitters, I feel like glitters are all the, I don't want to say all the same, but they are super similar among Korean beauty brands. So deepen this a little bit, the lower lash line. Yeah, and that's the matte shade. Like I said, there's a lot of similarities between these 2 color story, but I think you can see this is leaning pinkier and this is like more orange or peachy. Okay, now let's apply glitters. These 2 or 3 glitters in this palette are so pretty. I think this palette just wins on the glitters. I mean, the camera is not doing it justice, but just to say, this is super pretty. And this palette, I think this glitter is fine, but this one is not so much. This is too chunky, and this is finer but still chunky. So the one single glitter I like is this one. Let's use this shade because I think in this palette the most shades are leaning cool toned, And this one is the only cooler tone shade in this palette. Can you see the intense reflection? And there is a little bit of fallout, but for the intensity we are getting, the fallout is not bad at all. Really, the glitter in this palette is so good. And let's use this glitter. Yeah, this one is pretty too. Just like I said, the other glitters in this palette is not my favorite type of formula. I did the like as similar as I can from these two palettes, but the color story is still pretty different for the neutral palettes they are. I think I like both of them. And let me finish my makeup. Okay, eye makeup is done. Just some subtle eyeliner and subtle mascara. And I think when I'm open my eye like this, you can't see much difference there. This is just the life of a person with hooded eyelid. It's just whatever look you do, when you open your eyes, there are only like very minimal stuff people can see. But when I'm like this, you can see there's definitely some tone difference there. And I actually really liked both of these palettes. It's just like I said, I don't like these two super chunky glitters, and this one is super subtle, which isn't bad. I just love the intense glitters. Whereas this one, this three glitter is so beautiful, and I do think this one, the mattes, just blend a touch more effortlessly. You can see both of them blend pretty well, but I would say this one blend just a little bit better. Again, maybe because of the tone. Maybe because this one is just a touch darker and it's more of a cool toned palette, right? I have olive skin tone, so generally warm toned warm toned shadow looks a little bit more blended on my skin. It's just the way it is. But again, I loved both of them. Like I said, this is a very famous pear chip blush on TikTok. I think it's a boy. A guy was pushing this. Well, when I say pushing, it sounds like he's doing like a promotion or something. It's not. I don't know the actual behind the scenes thing. He's just recommending this blush for a lot, and it looks great on him. And that's why I always interested to buy this shade. And I think recently he has tried some other shades and it also looks pretty great. But yeah, I just got this the first one he recommended, which is pear chip, and I really like this packaging. Is the thick acrylic Clinique cheek pop. These are the same type of material. They are not the flimsy thin plastic. This is like pretty sturdy and it's pretty affordable. I think he said this is like the most boring looking blush, but on the cheeks it's just like such a beautiful flush, which it was on him. Let's try how it looks on my skin. It's really natural. Like because of the lights, I don't think you're seeing it that well. But in real life, it really truly is such a pretty natural flush. I think this is, yeah, I really like this. I really do. Can you tell? I think the lighting is not doing this justice. In real life, this is much more intense. Can I get this a little bit toned down? I don't know how to do it while I'm filming. You can see a little bit more. Can you see how effortlessly this is blending? This is like super buttery and the blend is so seamless, and the shade is actually going super well with my eyeshadow. But I do think this type of supernatural flush type of shade will go nicely with any type of look actually. I'm thinking, does this have anything to do with the skin tone? I imagine it must be. I don't think someone with super cool toned skin tone will have this blush look the same on them. The guy was pushing, again I said pushing, was recommending this was an Asian man as well, and I do feel like his skin tone is probably pretty close to mine. That's what I'm telling. I think he looks like he's like golden olive and light medium or medium. So I think there might be some skin tone effects to this. So if you are deep skin tone, of course I don't think this shade is gonna work on you. And in general, I just don't think Korean beauty is that deeper skin tone friendly. And even if you're just middle, like a medium skin tone, I'm not sure how much this will show on you. I am light to medium, slightly leaning more medium, and this is how it shows with a couple layer. I do think this probably works the best with people have warm undertone that is light to medium in this range. If you're super fair and super cool skin tone, I don't know how this will look on you. And if you have a deeper skin tone, I don't think this will show at all. But yeah, for me, I love this. I think there's one thing, if you're gonna buy something from someone's recommendation, especially if it's a base product, you have to look at their skin tone. This blush is so successful for me. It's probably because me and that creator have similar skin tone. I didn't buy any highlights because I don't know which one to buy. Does any of you have recommendation of Korean highlights? Because I just don't know, because I never seen anybody talk about Korean highlights. So yeah, that I didn't get any, but I got a shitload of lip products, so let's try them. And I just swatched them. You can see that all of the stains on my arm. This is also stain from the lip stain. So I'm thinking let's start from the one that stains the less stain less. Peripera ink lasting lip gloss in the shade 06. This is also very viral on TikTok, on point. This was supposedly to be a dupe for the Clinique Black Honey lip gloss, but this one is way cheaper. This is like $5 maybe. And the creator was recommending this. On her lips, this looked super similar to the Clinique one, but I have never tried the Black Honey shade, so I can't say that. And the applicator is super big. It's the chunky applicator that we see a lot these days. This is a very pretty shade. Again, I'm not sure if this is like a dupe for Black Honey, but if this is, I can understand why people love Black Honey that much. I can see this to work on a lot of different skin tones, because first of all, it's I'm getting this everywhere. First of all, this is very sheer, so this is gonna be very forgiving on the skin tone because it's not opaque again. But at the same time, the actual color is very deep, right? So it's not gonna look ashy on the darker skin tone. So I just think this is gonna look very different on under different skin tone. But regardless, I think this is gonna look nice on most people, and I really like this. I am glad that I purchased this one, and this is a successful TikTok buy. Actually, a lot of today's stuff is influenced by TikTok, and so far we have been very successful. And the second, let's go with romance. We got a lot of Peripera today. Okay, before I start swatching all of the lip tints, I just want to say that I later realized that swatching all of the lip tints on the same day back to back is a stupid idea because they're lip tints. They're gonna tint your lip. So basically, after the first one, you can't tell the right shade for the later ones I swatched. So for the better reference, I did try them separately in different days after I filmed this video, and I took pictures with my iPhone in natural light every day that I tried each of them right after the application and right after had a big meal, like to show you how much tint it's gonna leave, and also compare with my bare lip. So hopefully that will be helpful. For the Romand one, this is the Juicy Lasting Tint in the shade 28 Bare Fig. This is pretty nice. I actually recently really like this kind of cool tone pink. But it's just me, or the shade is getting more and more vibrant just in a couple seconds. I don't think it's just in my mind. I think this is actually getting a lot darker. I think with this staying power, it's like staying in my lip pretty quickly. I can just throw a gloss on top. Yeah, I prefer this a lot. I just think for lip tints, the super pigmented look, it's just not always looking the greatest. That's in my opinion. I think the little tint it left with the gloss on top is looking way better. My lip is stained, but there's nothing I can do with that. And this is another Romand lip tint, and it's the Dewy Full Water Tint. And we have the shade Lilac Cream, which is 11. And I like this bottle a lot more. I like this cream color. And I feel like cream brands, even though the price are pretty affordable, their packaging are generally pretty well made. And this might be a similar shade to that, to the last one we swatched. But this one is lighter. I think I prefer this type way more than this one, which is a little too intense for my liking. And this isn't getting much darker, which where the last one is getting much darker so quick. It's leaving a pretty tint, which I don't know if this is fully the color of this one. I think this is mixing with the last one we swatched. The next one, let's try these. I think these are all the Peripera Ink Mood Glowy Tint. I got 3 shades, 01, 03, and 12. Let's start with 01. Immediately, I can tell this is a much more comfortable formulation. This is feeling a little bit like lip oil. Yeah, I think for the previous two, I wouldn't just wear on their own. But for this one, I think I will. It's like a tint mixed with some lip oil type of feeling, which I actually really like. And this is a pretty apple kind of reddish shade. And I think this can look great on a lot of looks, or even the no makeup, because this can in some way mimic the natural lip color. Not completely, but a little bit. And I do feel like this is getting darker, right? Yeah, I do think this is getting a little bit darker. So when you are buying the Korean lip tints, make sure you swatch and you wait a little bit if you can swatch at the store, because a lot of them do get darker. But I do think this has stopped changing its shade, still leaving a little bit tint, but not as intense. I can't talk today. Not as intense as the previous two from Romand. Okay, then it's the shade 03. This one is pretty as well. I think it's in between of a pinky shade and the shade with, not this one, the first shade from this series, which I like this type of shade because I just think they are very easy to use from day to day. And again, I think this formula is very nice. It feels like lip oil. The last shade from this series, the shade 12, I can't tell the difference between this one and the last one. I guess just a little bit pinkier, maybe. I like the first two shades way more. But again, I prefer this formula rather than the romance one. So I guess it's okay to have this shade in this formula as well. And can you see the shine it gives? I think this shine is what I prefer as well. And it feels so comfortable on the lips. The last three are probably the ones that stain your lip the most. The first one, which is this bottle, has the word mood on it, and the shade is 12. And I think this is a matte moussey formula. Oh, this is very smooth. I think it's filling the lines on my lips and making my lip look very smooth. I think if I wasn't swatching so many lip tints before this one, this shade can look a little bit different. But this in general is a dusty rose type of color, and it's like a very fall winter appropriate shade, and it's super comfortable. It's almost feeling a little bit moisturizing, even though it's matte, but it feels moisturizing. It's a nice formulation. I love this formula. And I don't think this one is staining the lips. The last two shades, which from the swatch, I can tell these two are probably the most staining formulation. And these are the Peripera Water Bear in the shade 6 and 3. I'm getting a lot of the same shades today. But I do feel like with lip tints, the shades range are rather similar, especially if it's a Korean brand. It's all of the same sort of shades, even though they might list like 20 shades. But if you actually try them on your lip, they are all of the similar shades. Let's try the shade 6 first. I think this formula is the thinnest out of all of the ones we tried today. The other ones are more of like these two, they are gel or jelly like formulas, and this one is mousse, and these are lip oil and jelly like in the middle, and this one is super thin watery formula. And in real life it's like a rosy mauve shade, which is this shade with a touch of shine. There isn't much shine to this, but there's just like a little bit, and it's leaving a stain, which I don't know why it looks like brownish in real life. On the camera it does look pink, but in real life it looks brownish, but it applies rosy and is leaving a pinky rosy tone. So I guess, like I said, all of these are gonna end up looking somewhat same. It's either on the reddish side or on the pinkish side. I guess it has to be with the pigment they're using. Probably there's only a few types of shade, like lip tint shade, that can actually tint your lips well, and that's why all of the lip tints all ended up looks the same, because they all use the same kind of dye to them. That's my guess. Okay, and then the shade 3. Again, these are so lightweight. It's literally feel like I'm applying water on my lip. And surprisingly, this does give you a little bit of the lip oil feeling on the lips once it's on your lip. I actually really like this one. It's so lightweight and comfortable and kind of moisturizing. And this shade, it just looks like all of the other ones that I swatched. But I do like this shade, so I'm not too mad that I got so many dupes. I was actually trying to buy all different shades. I would wipe all this off and just use the lip oil, but because I think this lip oil or the lip gloss is gonna work the best with our makeup. Okay, this lip gloss is feeling so nice on the lips, especially after all that swatching. So to summarize today's try on haul slash quick review, I do think all of the powder stuff are a win. Their Korean powder formula is just so great. It's all so easily blendable, and yeah, I think you can tell they just blend so nicely on the skin, all of them. If you are light to medium skin tone, or maybe even fair, I do think from fair to medium, this range, you can have a try on Korean products. And for the eyeshadow, I do think Roman has their full glitter palettes, and Dasique have like shimmer and glitter palettes as well. So if you're a deeper undertone, I still think the shimmers and glitters can work very well on the darker skin tone. So you might want to try that. And for the lip colors, I don't think there's much limit on the skin tone. So yeah, if you are interested and your skin tone is in those range, I do recommend the powder stuff. They are really great. Especially for eyeshadow, this Dasique one, I love it so much. The mattes blend so beautifully, and the glitter is so intense. For lips, I feel like the only thing that I didn't really like that much is this Juicy Lasting Tint. It might be the shade I'm getting. Maybe I'm getting a shade that's too dark. It might have something to do with my lips, because I do think a lot of these tints change to a super deep color on my lips for some reason. But yeah, this is the only one that I wasn't really sure about. But this one, the packaging, I like it a lot. The formula is nice as well. For my favorite lip tint formula, it's gonna be this this one. It's a Peripera Ink Mood Glowy Tint. They are the, like I said, lip oil and tint mixed together in between type of formulation. It still have a little bit of the tint effect, but in general it's super comfortable on the lips. And this formula is pretty nice as well. Super comfortable, even moisturizing matte moussey formula. And these two are super thin, which I love this formula as well. They're so thin, feels like water on your lips, but at the same time it's kind of cushiony and moisturizing. I can't explain this. This is so good. But I think my favorite is this gloss actually. I think I might even want to buy more of these because I use gloss a lot. These days I have been using lip tint underneath and lip gloss on top a lot of times, and sometimes if I really feeling it, I would even put down a little bit of lip liner and then lip tint and blot the lip tint and put on lip gloss. So I have been using up lip gloss a lot lately. If next time they are gonna have a big sale, I might try a little more shades of this one, because I do go through lip gloss so quick. I use up at least one every month. In general, this was a successful haul. They are pretty much all successful, and I liked all of the things I got today. Thank you for watching. I hope this is helpful. if you have any Korean beauty products that you love so much, feel free to recommend it to me. I might check it out. Thank you for watching. Bye.